Disclaimer. Please do not target, bully, threaten, or harass anyone portrayed or mentioned in this video. This is merely a commentary from the author of this channel and should be taken with reasonable doubt.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more! Where the fuck are your parents? Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!
I want to talk about something.
Shut it!
Forgive me for being blunt, but haven't we talked enough, Kero?
You know, no one really asked the real questions when I came back.
It just raises too many questions.
Given everything that we know now, like, why would we, exactly?
The question is, why? Why did I come back?
Why would a formerly popular YouTuber that was disgraced by the wrongdoings of his own past return to YouTube? That's quite a head-scratcher there, Kero. Oh yeah, it's for the views and the attention, and you wanted both. Well, congratulations, buddy. You got everybody's attention.
Everybody hates you.
I always knew this was a suicide mission.
Alright, now you're just being a little bit dramatic, aren't you?
I always knew a lot of people were not going to listen to me.
Kero, buddy, pal, we listened. We just didn't like what you had to say. That's all.
I only came back to say what I needed to say. I needed closure.
So in order to do this, you needed to pick fights with some of the biggest names in the furry fandom right now? Like, how is that going to facilitate your goals?
Now, to my fans, I know this is sad news for you to hear, and in a perfect world, I would come back and stay, but this...
Beg your pardon there, Kero, but I do remember you saying something about how you're just planning on coming back and continuing with your content. Did I miss the script here, or was there a sudden change of plans in light of new circumstances, or...
So, yes, here I am taking my leave from YouTube. I'm my own hero, and I know that I will become something new.
Your vast, corrupt future is draining away as we speak.
I will always be in this fandom, one form or another. So, may we meet again.
And now a word from the hooded scary guy that lurks in the back of my head. His name's Jeff, by the way.
Well, if it isn't Kero the Wolf, a name I haven't heard for quite some time. I thought you were desperately trying to curry favor with those desperate patrons of yours on Patreon. I had no idea that you would dare show your face on YouTube again. Kero the Wolf, a famed furry YouTuber and fursuiter to match on the furry fandom. Kero the Wolf, you've been found guilty by the High Council of the Furluminati. You will have your titles stripped from your person. Your name will be dragged through the mud and be forgotten, lain to waste in the ether from whence it came. As for you yourself, I implore you, you will be forced back into the hole from whence you crawled out of. I will only tell you this, dear Kero. I can only hope that God himself have mercy on your wretched, pitiful soul. May you yiff in hell, fur fag.
So, this literally just happened today. Kero the Wolf left a final goodbye video, basically a teary-eyed message to the furry fandom to never give up the good fight and to stand up to cancel culture and let their voices be heard. That if anybody was being gatekeeped or being harassed or targeted for problematic opinions or anything that they were allegedly guilty of, that they had the right to stand tall and not be judged for it, that others would soon follow, and that they would be heard. well, I hate to say it, but Kero the Wolf is definitely not the poster child for, being a crusader against cancel culture. He's basically painting himself out to be a martyr. That his reputation, that his clout, that his influence on the World Wide Web had been dashed in its prime because of cancel culture. That has been the underlying message throughout all of his videos, that this is nothing to do with him, that he is not guilty of anything, that he had engaged in no wrongdoing, and that he's denying the mountains of evidence that has been compiled against him over the course of years of tireless efforts by other furries that went out of the way above and beyond the call of duty to try to nail his ass to the wall with a 10-foot railroad spike. And, it's just absolutely disgusting that he comes out here today to leave this teary-eyed message, and it's even more disgusting that I look through the comments, and that there's just so many furries out there that absolutely either do not know the full extent as to what he's actually been guilty of. Never mind the fact that he's been associating willingly without any condemnation from himself or even disgust or self-reflection. Are these really the people that I want to associate with? They just don't know, or they know perfectly damn well that there's, reasonable expectation that all of this is absolutely true, and they just don't care, because, Kero the Wolf would put on that cute, lovable, Kero the Wolf fursuit and go out there and make content that made people feel better at the end of the day. And, he did a pretty good job keeping his nose clean in these last 3 videos, but I gotta say, you ain't that slick, Rick. You got dicked by the furry fandom, you got dicked hard. Rightfully so. I'm not gonna go, retread old ground. I think I've made sufficient amount of videos on the subject. I've talked to great length on the subject matter, but I will, I was already planning on making a video, regardless of whether or not this video, the latest and greatest video by Kero the Wolf himself, I was going to make a video basically addressing some of the things that he tried to refute in his last 2 videos. And this third one was just an emotional appeal. He tried to make himself out to be the big man in the room, that he was trying to be the bigger person by moving on and walking away, but at the same time, calling out Majir Strawberry and Betamax, who neither of which did anything wrong, by the way. Majiri just said, hey, why don't you just not give this guy any attention? Betamax just expressed disappointment in Majir Strawberry for what he'd become. And, Majir Strawberry, I have to say, he was perhaps the most professional of the two. Betamax lost his temper about halfway through. And I can't really blame the guy, considering, the fact that, what Kero had actually said in his communications over Twitter and YouTube comments, and it's just that's not quite the triumphant return that, people are expecting. In fact, the more I look at all this, the more it just seems like this was just a stunt to get the views, which, Kero the Wolf bragged about getting within a relatively short span of time. I mentioned his comments over Twitter, over YouTube, how he took snipes at Majir Strawberry. You probably shouldn't do that if you're trying to make yourself out to be the big man in the room, or if you're trying to make yourself out to be, the victim that you're trying to paint yourself out to be. And the problem with Kero the Wolf is that he seems to live in this weird bizarro world, universe, compared to the rest of us that are, pretty well grounded in reality when we're not fixating on furry porn and, browsing for affinity or role-playing with people. I'm just saying, this is not exactly conveying to me that, Kero the Wolf, this doesn't change anything, alright? All this does is it convinces a number of people out there, and it raises that plausible deniability that other people still see Kero the Wolf as having been struck down by cancel culture. And, this actually hurts potential victims in the future of cancel culture. They're not going to have a leg to stand on. There's going to be no defense for them, if they make a problematic opinion, or if something's taken out of context, or what have you. They're going to be shit out of luck. And I have to say, how unfortunate, because Kero the Wolf, you do not want that person being the champion of, taking down cancel culture, alright? Considering the amount of bullshit that he's subjected people to, the amount of allegations that he's absolutely fucking guilty of, and that, by his own admission, he is absolutely guilty of, And we're going to go over some of that material, like, here in a bit. Again, more so, like, focusing on his most recent activities. How did all this start? This all started on March 12th, 2021. He released a video. Some of the, like, you know, the bigger names in the Furry fandom made commentary on it. And, like, what pisses me off the most right now is the fact that Kero the Wolf tries to say, oh, they're just gatekeeping me. They're sending legions of their fans after me. Well, the problem is that these legions of fans that you are, like, basically equating to Majira's Strawberries or Betamax's private armies, they have, like, the ability for independent thought. While they may like Majira Strawberry, they may like Betamax, they are also fully capable of engaging in behaviors that are completely independent of those two names. They don't need the endorsement of Majira Strawberry or Betamax to do what they want to do. And plenty of furries out there have this absolutely piss-poor opinion of you because of not only of the bad actions that you engaged in the past, you can't even take it like a man and bow out gracefully. You can't even be honest for once in your godforsaken life. And, you know, so many people out there had high hopes for you. They really thought that you were a true blue friend, that you were there to, like, have their back, that you would be there for them, that you'd be somebody that was a pretty cool guy to hang out with, and honestly, I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole at this point. And, you know, it's just, like, it boggles the mind how you have any support these days, especially given the fact that you have to, like, hide your subscriber count, and you have to moderate your videos, your releases, like, you know, with a fine-tooth comb, supposedly with the help of, like, a moderation team, although I'm not entirely sure, like, what this moderation team comprises of, besides the Salt King. And, like, Kit the Soulless apparently is also a zoophile. Yeah, screen caps were found of his exact username on Beast forums, and how he was basically talking about things that he was doing with his dog. And you know it's really bad when the people that are engaging in just as bad behavior as you tell you that you need to stop. Like, they were giving him some, like, you know, pushback and saying, dude, you're hurting your dog. You need to stop right now, what you're describing to us. And as far as I know, Kit the Soulless, how I know him, Kit the Soulless in the early days, he seemed like he was, you know, level-headed. I liked the things that he had to say, and I could honestly agree with some of the messages that he was, you know, basically relaying to the rest of the fandom. The problem is the fact that, like, you know, he turned out to be just as bad as Kero the Wolf, if not worse. And, like, I didn't know this at the time, although I heard mention of it along the way. I kind of forgot about it for a while, but then, you know, I thought about it again. Especially what made me think about it the most was, like, the video that piggybacked on Kero the Wolf's My Side video, where he basically paints, like, Kero the Wolf out to be a victim of cancel culture. And that's absolutely not the case. Like, you know, cancel culture is when you have a problematic opinion, maybe you make a transphobic, racist comment, or maybe you just make a joke that's out of context and people take it the wrong way. And then, you know, they smear your reputation and take you down for it. It's very unpredictable. Popularity fluctuates, you know, wildly. You can be absolutely, like, the most unpopular person in the world, but maybe if you say the right thing at the right time, people will respect you a lot more for it. And people, like, the general consensus, like, people in a group are much different from individuals. While individually they may agree with you or disagree with you, as a group there is general consensus, but there's also, you know, like, you know, the silent majority. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I will just say in Kero the Wolf's case, a lot of people were for him once upon a time. You know, he had over 100,000 subscribers. He was propelled into stardom, like, overnight from the Shane Dawson interview. I think that Kero the Wolf's fame really is largely thanks in part to Ashley Zoe Fox, who convinced Shane Dawson to interview him. But Shane Dawson, his popularity has kind of waned in recent years because of numerous little things that he's done that are deeply controversial that I'm not going to get into this video. But yeah, just honestly, Kero the Wolf, the dumb son of a bitch that he is, he can't just bow out gracefully. Or maybe he's just doing this because, you know, he wanted one last hurrah. And he acts like he's so right, like he's, like, you know, so self-assured and so overconfident. He didn't just go for broke, he tripled down. He didn't just double down, he tripled down. He went down hard because, like, he's never going to admit, like, his wrongdoings. He's never going to, like, give the satisfaction to the rest of the fandom that, you know, like, we were right, that the things that we pointed out. You know, sometimes you just want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Sometimes. Honestly, I don't need that because I already know, like, what the score is right now. And, like, as far as I care, he can leave, alright? he's like, I'm still a part of this fandom no matter where I go. Okay, like, maybe I'm getting a little bit too far ahead of myself, but he alluded to the fact that he might adopt a new identity, that he's going to be moving on. He's not quite going to be deleting his Twitter or his YouTube, but he's definitely moving on from his YouTube channel. Or so he claims. Again, Kero the Wolf is a proven liar. And it's just, mind-boggling what he plans on doing. I guess he's trying to salvage what little he has left. He's going to retreat back to Patreon and cater to whatever patron supporters he managed to acquire. I guess he's going to get some income out of that and some support. And maybe he's going to make a re-emergence sometime. So you're going to see a part 4, part 5, part 6. Who knows how long this is going to stretch out for. So, like, I'm going to release some content that I had already been recording prior to, like, this new development. And I had said in my prior, like, recording, hey, unless something significant happens, like, I'm probably not going to make a video about Kero the Wolf unless, like, I have something that I really need to share with the rest of y'all. Because I think I've, like, spoken about this to great length. Like, there's several Kero the Wolf videos. I was making them because, like, the revelations were coming at me at rapid fire. And now it's just, like, a sad reminder of, like, what really offends me about Kero the Wolf, in that he's trying to latch onto the concept of cancel culture and its phenomena and how destructive it is throughout the furry fandom. Take it on, adopt it as a mantle from which he can basically portray himself as the Grand Crusader against cancel culture, and basically use it as a cudgel against any accusation against him, and basically bring up plausible deniability and just be like, hey, I was a victim of cancel culture. All that stuff was lies and deception. I am completely innocent. You can trust me because I was in a dark place, but now I'm here. I'm here to talk to you all and set the score right. Yeah, about the only thing that you should do is probably, take a flying fuck off the cliff of YouTube. Just like jump off YouTube. Just don't show yourself here again. And I think my friend said it the best. He's just like, dude, just find another fandom. If you need a sense of belonging, find another fandom. Like, work your craft there. Do something else that you're, like, very passionate about, because, by my estimation, Kero the Wolf is a lying, dog-fucking, clout-chasing piece of shit. Alright, and I say that from the bottom of my own heart, okay? I don't care to associate with the guy. I don't care to associate with anybody that happens to be fans of his. I don't happen to care to be friends with anybody that happens to be friends with Kero the Wolf. If they were, I'd have some serious questions, but at the same time, you are all free-thinking adults, okay? You all have individuality. You can make decisions for yourself, alright? You can decide whether what I'm saying right now is bullshit, or whether what Kero the Wolf is saying is bullshit. And I can explain myself. Like, this isn't the one-and-done video here. I was going to get into, like, what he was doing, like, ever since his return, March 12th, 2021, how the fandom reacted, how some of the bigger names in the fandom reacted, and, like, how this all led up to today. Because, as far as furry news goes, this is pretty significant. Like, he basically managed to Michael Jackson his way through a bunch of charges, and waited 2 fucking years for the statute of limitations to run out, and under the advice of his lawyer to be legally cleared to talk about shit. He spoke a bunch of lies and was very ambiguous on his return. He never showed any documentation, like proof that basically showcased that what he was claiming to be, like, right was correct. And, like, more recently, he said that there was going to be a live stream set up where he would actually speak on live, like, broadcast to address any unanswered questions or concerns that the furry fandom had. This was quickly cut down because somebody had swatted, like, the interviewer. Supposedly. I don't really buy it because it seems very convenient. Like, Kero the Wolf never made mention that it was in the makes or, like, it was going to happen. Like, he just mentions it after the fact. And it's like, dude, like, who was this individual? Why would somebody swat an individual that was going to interview you? Because I would imagine if you want answers, like, to the questions that you have, you're going to let them speak. You're not going to try to jeopardize that. You're not going to try to cut them down to size or, like, sabotage the event. That sounds more like Kero the Wolf pulling an excuse out of his ass, like he did with the whole super Iranian hackers from Iran bit. And, like, just convenience. Like, so many convenient, like, you know, coincidences that just kind of stack. And eventually you're just kind of like wondering, like, man, this guy just can't catch a break, you know? Like, first this, then that, what's next? Anyway. How about we just go over some material that I collected off of Twitter, off of YouTube, and various other places, and just, you know, formulate a timeline. I will start by forming a TLDR timeline, like right now. Okay, so this all started on March 12th, 2021, and it basically started with Kero the Wolf's YouTube video, you know, My Side. It was just called My Side. It was supposed to be like sort of a composite video, basically conveying to the rest of the furry fandom his side of the story. Unfortunately, if you watch the video, like, Kero the Wolf didn't really reveal much. He lied and gaslighted throughout the entire thing. He basically used cancel culture as an excuse. He used, like, you know, he basically cherry-picked whatever evidence could be very easily refuted for anybody that was actually aware of the developments throughout this whole ordeal. And, like, he didn't really say much of tangible value. Nothing he said really proved innocence. Also, that's not how, like, you know, legal prosecution works. Like, law enforcement, that's not their job to, like, attest that you're innocent or, like, guilty. Their job is to basically assess whether you've committed a crime, okay? Now, while the implication there is that if they don't, like, arrest you, that you're innocent, but that, you know, it's, like, innocent beyond, like, guilty beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt. The reason it's worded that way is that it's entirely possible that you committed a crime, but it has to be sort of like proven with evidence. In Kero the Wolf's case, there's sufficient evidence out there. I'm not going to get to it right now. I might get into it later on in the video, like some of the things that he mentioned specifically, not like everything in general. But yeah. So he, like, basically Majira Strawberry made a tweet and basically said, dude, he's just making this to get the views. Don't give him any attention and move on. Kero the Wolf takes a snipe at Majira Strawberry and is basically like, oh wow, that wasn't very nice there, Majira Strawberry. Well, I'm pretty sure your G-rated fan audience base is going to be really butthurt when they find out that you're a Murray Prairie mersuiter. And it's like, I could give two less of a shit right now than I could 5 minutes ago about whether or not Majira Strawberry is a mersuiter, okay? As long as it's not the same fursuit that he's showcasing all those videos, like hugging kids and stuff like that, I could absolutely care less, okay? He's an adult, he's a big boy now, he can make his own decisions, he can have sex with whoever he wants to in his $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 fursuit, alright? As long as he's not harming kids, harming animals, or doing anything illegal. And it's just like, it was so petty the way that Kero, like, said that. It's like, dude, is that the best you can do against Majira Strawberry? Like, during your association, like, I hate it when friends, like, if you're in an argument with a friend, they'll, like, grab whatever ammunition's lying around. If it's petty, if it's major, like, personal issues that in good faith you probably shouldn't mention to try to twist your friend's arm, but they do because they can, and, you know, hopefully it's something that you can resolve after the fact, but in some cases you can't. But, like, in Kero the Wolf's case, like, man, like, low blow, didn't really do much though. All it did was basically raise the disgust in the room against him. And Kero the Wolf did apologize for it, but I feel like it was one of those half-assed apologies. It's like, oh shit, what I said was getting me pushback. I better do something quick to, like, throw off the heat. And, you know, he passes off like a half-assed apology, and it wasn't very convincing. Then Betamax makes, like, a couple comments on his YouTube videos, and is just basically saying, dude, I hate what you've become. Like, this is just so unfortunate. And Kero the Wolf's just like, well, you know what, Betamax? I hate what you've become. You are barely unrecognizable to me. And Kero has admitted to, like, not liking Majira Strawberry or Betamax these days. And just, like, they, like, you know, Kero the Wolf would say a few things. I remember one tweet where someone's just like, dude, you left without a word. I gave you, like, a month to come clean and explain yourself. And you just left for 2 years. Like, how can I trust you now? And Kero the Wolf's like, I was in a dark place, man. You can trust me because I'm here. I'm here for you. And it's just like, bleh. No, thank you. So, you know, Kero the Wolf's conduct has certainly not really been very wholesome or very endearing, to say the least. Like, as far as, like, the grand overarching furry fandom at large. And it certainly hasn't done much to endear me to him. So, like, where does this go? Well, Betamax is starting to get upset because, like, Salt King, like the Salt King, you remember that moderator, or alleged moderator? There's multiple theories that he might actually just be Kero the Wolf in disguise, but, like, that moderator for that chat. He basically just goes into, like, at the very end of one of his, like, sentences, he's like, dude, this kind of behavior is the kind of shit that could get people hurt or killed. And, like, there was, like, a threatening undertone to, like, how he said it, and Betamax was just like, dude, okay, I want names, I want, like, addresses. Well, he didn't say names or addresses, but, like, Betamax was definitely taking numbers, and he wanted any content that he could, like, possibly gather from the furry community at large on Kero the Wolf. He wanted to, it seems like he wanted to build a YouTube video, a comprehensive YouTube video, kind of like the ones I've already made, that would basically showcase, like, Kero the Wolf to be the piece of shit that, like, most of us know him to be. And I can't really fault him in that endeavor, because, like, you know, Kero the Wolf, his language and his antics so far have done nothing but piss people off and make people dislike him just a little bit more. However, there are plenty of people out there that can look past all that and listen to Kero the Wolf's, like, charming voice and look at him in his videos as he stares at you with those glassy, soulless eyes of his. And, like, you know, basically put on a nice little show, a very professional front, business in the front, party in the back sort of deal. And, like, you know, basically feel like this guy is a good person. I can believe him. I personally don't buy into it at all, but hey, be my guest if you want to watch his content. I'm not going to stop you. I will say that he's an absolute dog fucking piece of shit, but okay. If that's what you want in a YouTube content creator, alright. For those of you that like that sort of thing, I will have to disappoint you all. I do not share in Kero the Wolf's past or his proclivities. So, maybe that's one thing that sets us apart. Maybe Kero the Wolf is just advanced and so far beyond me that I could just not even grasp or comprehend the struggles that this man goes through on a daily.
It's not stupid, it's advanced.
But, as it stands right now, so Boozy Badger actually came out with like a 4-page statement, basically summarizing the best summary in words that I could see to date by any one individual in one post, and put it on YouTube. And, you know, there's been various furries that would put their 2 cents in on the subject. People looked to Kero the Wolf with a lot of cynicism. They didn't outright condemn him, but they found his actions the most concerning of everything that he's been doing so far, in spite of the allegations. And the allegations are very, very large. So obviously, if you're not really in the know, you're going to look at the allegations and be like, how could this man be guilty of all that? Well, you'd have to be here. You're like, you know, if you're saying that now, you're kind of late to the party. I'm not going to fault you for showing some reasonable doubt, because like I said before, I think it's very important. Like, you know, I've seen the comments, I've seen, like, you know, the likes to dislike ratio. I really appreciate you all, you know, supporting me and basically agreeing with what I had to say. That's not necessarily a statement as to whether my opinions are valid or not. That's really a matter of public opinion, I feel like, at the end of the day. If you actually go to the school of, like, philosophy, and you actually learn how philosophers, like, you know, engage with one another with an argument and the evidence to support or to refute an argument, it's so much more complex than just what you see online. That's why you see those little memes about straw man arguments, or you know, false equivalents and double standards and things like that. It's because that if you actually apply this to an academic framework, it's so much more than, like, what most of us are, you know, have been exposed to. Thankfully, having a college education had exposed me to some of those, and, you know, if you subscribe to the College of Wikipedia or College of Reddit, that will be even more helpful, I would imagine, and you'll save yourself a ton of money. Unfortunately, it won't help you get a job, though. So that's just one disclaimer that I would just like to give you right now. Anyway, yeah, use your best judgment for all this, but I think I've spoken at great length on all of this so far. Boozy Badger, he basically made his 4-page statement, and Kero the Wolf, he mentioned that his friend had gotten swatted, and that like he wasn't going to take this lying down, that he was going to continue the good fight against cancel culture and gatekeeping the canon, which is absolutely asinine. Like, this is not the situation, okay? Like what Majira Strawberry and what Betamax tell their fans, like, their fans aren't like this private military on call to like go after and harass anybody that they don't like, okay? And to date, I have never really seen them like use their fan base in such a way. They cater to their fan base. They want to have a good time. They want to be liked by other people. They want to provide content of tangible value that other people really like. And like for Kero the Wolf to make statements like that, it's just like, dude, no, that's not the score here. Like, you are misjudging and misrepresenting the situation in so many ways. But hey, you know, there are plenty of people out there that still support Kero the Wolf to their undying breath. It kind of reminds me of this ultra-religious guy back in the day that would make these very disjointed, rambling, like, comments on my YouTube channel. And basically, he tried to use the Bible and the Bible verses as a justification for why Kero the Wolf was innocent. And at first, he said he was innocent because we need to give him the benefit of the doubt. Later on, he admitted to the fact that Kero the Wolf probably is, like, absolutely guilty of the things that he did. But that by the like virtues of human kindness and forgiveness, we need to welcome him back with open arms. And I'm just like, I'm not going to attack the guy like physically or like, you know, even like, you know, maybe verbally a little bit, but like I'm not going to like go out of my way to like absolutely raise a crusade against the man. But at the same time, I don't have to accept him for like what he's become, what he is, what he's been for years, like behind closed doors and closed DMs. Like, the whole chat log situation with Snake Thing is proof of that. And by the way, I'm going to get into this in the subject, but, you know, editing an HTML file log of a Telegram chat is easy to do. However, it's not easy to do when the messages themselves were forwarded through the client side, okay? So, that first video where, like, there was that asshole who's just, like, you know, he basically... he has this HTML like log file from Telegram, and he just changes the name to Wilhelm Scream. And then at the very end of it, it's like, and people the wolf say the chat logs are fake or are real. For shame. For shame. I'm like, fuck you, asshole. Like, seriously, like, where do you get off like putting this half like, you know, lame-brained excuse like forward when like most of us already know how Telegram actually works? Telegram is unique because there was a unique function that you could actually forward chat logs through HTML file. However, like you can't once you forward them through client side, it's, you know, that's basically it. And these were legit chat logs. And even if you want to go with the argument that they were absolutely fake, you know, like basically there's just so much volume there. Like, what is anybody gonna get? You're gonna basically smear lesser Majira Strawberry off YouTube. That's it. 100,000 subscribers. You ain't no PewDiePie and you ain't no Game Grumps. You don't have millions of subscribers. You are a lesser Majira Strawberry and nothing more. Anyway, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh in my criticisms of Kero the Wolf. Let's go ahead and get to like the actual materials that I had like collated from Twitter, YouTube, various other places online. Let's take a look at those, because it shows a little bit of a timeline in the comments. See you in a bit.
After 2 years of forced silence, I am making my return to the fandom and to YouTube. Please watch my latest video, where I finally share my side.
If you have spent hours watching hate videos about me, you owe me the 15 minutes it takes to watch this video.
Dude, I looked up to you back then. You were my friend, and I believed you cared about me. I even gave you at least a month after all this shit came out to give you a chance to explain yourself. You left us in the dark, and you promised to stick around, but then you left. Why should I trust you now? You can trust me because I'm here. I was in a dark place. It was hard to deal with all those death threats. I ended up closing everyone out for a while. For that, I'm sorry. I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. I really wanted to help this fandom for the better.
It was hard to deal with all the evidence of you sexually abusing animals, too.
Welcome back, Kero! Here,
I drew some fan art to commemorate your return. I'm angry.
Honestly, that's a mood.
Me too, dude. Me too.
I wasn't prepared for this today. Okay, I did watch the video, and yes, he's still garbage. His proof of innocence is that the police found nothing, which is true, because possession of zoophilic and cub fetish pornography is legal in the state where he lives. Technically not doing a crime is a pretty low bar.
And only because the illegal actions occurred in 2 different states, and the time limit for the proof being used had passed for one, and in the other state where he raped his dog in his parents' garage, his parents wouldn't cooperate with police. Kero defenders, get the fuck out. As well as the time limit and lack of cooperation in each state, the multiple crimes being across state lines, by my understanding, makes it federal jurisdiction, no?
A lot of y'all claim to love animals, yet you welcome this soothsayers with open arms back into this community. He won't become your popular friend, I assure you. Get thee out!
Oh my god, he wants the views! Stop giving him views!
Can give him the Twitter ratio instead. Ratioing gives him 0 ad revenue, and helps signal to the broader community and newer folks that his presence is not wanted in the slightest.
You know, Majira Strawberry, telling people not to watch my video isn't very nice. Though seeing what you become, I wouldn't put it past you. Also, have you told your fans about your mersuiting adventures? Basil, right? The purple deer suit? Still funny how people think you're G-rated. You know, Kero the Wolf, this isn't exactly a good way to get people to trust you again. Isn't that what you were hoping for today? Shaking my head.
Nice job outing someone for something that wasn't even half as bad compared to what you did. If you're going to blackmail someone as a form of defending yourself, it's clear that you have no ground left to stand on, and you won't be given a ground.
He's one of the people that almost pushed me over the edge to kill myself. I don't care for your feedback. This is between me and him. Correction, between you and him and anyone else who sees your public post. If you really wanted to keep this between you and him, I'm guessing you wouldn't send a public message. I'll take it down if he apologizes. That's all I ever wanted. God. I always wanted what was best for you, even after all this shit started. You were a good friend once, but it's clear that meant nothing to you. You lied to me from the beginning. I have no reason to apologize anymore. I want to apologize for my earlier tweet to you. I have removed it, but I have been through hell this past 2 years, and when the 3 of you blocked me out, it hurts so much. I want to have closure with you. Message me if you want. If not, that's fine.
I just noticed you follow me, Kero. Big fat nope. Blocking and hoping you don't return. Be gone, thought.
How you still find it in yourself to play the victim after everything you have done might just be a bigger testament to your character than your actions. Guys, greetings. I'm Kero's chief moderator. Nice to meet you. I saw the hateful, ignorant comment you left on Kero's channel. Given that Kero has never spoken to you, I'm gonna assume you watched some furry hater created video and are now trying to latch on him for some popularity, huh? But did you know that Kero was the victim of an internet hate campaign starting in 2018, but that after almost a year of investigation, the New York Police Department stopped their investigation because they found 0 evidence that Kero committed a crime, and that the second investigation has another police department and FBI involved, and after almost 2 years has also found no evidence of any guilt? Any information you have seen about him doing anything harmful is just repeats of rumors that are 2 years old. Don't be misled by furry haters and trolls who are just chasing clicks and ad money. I would ask that you please not believe the lies that are being shared about Kero on the internet and wait for the outcome of the second investigation. This will be your one and only warning. The next time you post that kind of garbage, you will be banned and reported for harassment.
don't worry. I have already deleted your comment for you so you don't have to look like the moron any longer. Now let me tell you about why the age of consent should be lowered to age 13. This is the worst thing that could have happened today. Really? I think that a giant meteor smashing into the surface of the Earth, wiping out 99% of the life, and forcing the remaining 1% to live in a wasteland for a few months before finally succumbing to starvation would be the worst thing that could have happened today, but I'm very sorry you can't handle some YouTube drama. Kero, deleting my statement on the situation rather than giving good grounded points proves I was right. Kira's not the one deleting comments. It is my team. Did you watch the video? If yes, what was your question? I did see the video, and his mod team deleted it because they took it as me harassing. Despite me giving my points I found as valid, if they simply responded normally, I would not be as suspicious of Kero. Alas, here we are. Oh no, we just blocked you. I think that alone shows we're doing a good job. Huh, support for someone who's done the things Kero's done. Tad alarming. Trolls attacking an innocent fur who has done nothing wrong. Tad alarming. Better ban you just to be sure. Getting somewhat combative from what just me stating my opinion. Sure, there's nothing to hide there. Nothing like concerning dogs and deer. Dude, you were only found innocent because the statute of limitations expired. Laughing my ass off, man. No he wasn't. Statute did not even come into the equation, bud. Who on earth even told you that? Oh, you've been watching videos created by that jealous Kero stalker, I get it. Real quick though, could you explain to me why the police came to his house to execute a search warrant and took possession of his digital devices over 2 years if the statute of limitations was expired? Did you even watch the video? Kero covers this. Hi, Kero! No words can truly describe how disappointed I am to have to share a website with you. If you genuinely cared about the fandom that brought you up, you would just leave. You've dodged accountability for absolutely disgusting actions you partook in years ago, and you came back here thinking you were in the right and the rest of the fandom is wrong about what you did, yet you've given no reason as to why they are wrong. That alone just shows me and everyone else that you have no actual care in the world for the fandom, and for the people and animals you've hurt. Funny that you talk about that. I went through 2 police investigations. I had all my possessions taken away from me. And yet, I was never charged with anything. You and the rest of the fandom need to take a step back and realize what you're doing. By pushing the narrative that I'm still guilty, even when I went through the legal system and was not charged, is so hypocritical. Furries are so quick to hop on the bandwagon because you and the rest of the furry YouTubers are enabling them. If you truly want to make a difference and take a stance instead of coming after me, how about you guys take a neutral stance and say, hey, he was investigated. You don't have to like him, but at the end of the day, the police did look into him and it came out that he was not guilty by a court of law. That's simply all you have to say to fix a chaotic situation. By feeding into this, you're enabling hate. All of the claim to be big source of this fandom, but when it comes to actually supporting it, you're pushing it in the wrong direction. You and the other furry YouTubers have a lot of influence. Use it correctly. I have a lot to say to you, but I'll keep it short. I'm disappointed in you too. I really thought of you as a good friend back in the day, but now I barely recognize you. So I know you in person, Beta. I know that you're usually a really sweet guy. We've hung out and it was very de-stressing experience. So I can't tell you how disappointed I am that you are going to join Majira and pile onto a man that has been proven innocent by the police for the sake of clout. Then you are going to add your weight and defame the entire furry fandom even more. Did you even watch the video above when Kero talks about this exact topic? You're the one keeping these rumors alive and bringing even more attention to the false accusations. What good are you even doing, dude? Kero's allegations were an ever-growing fish story, and given how much time you have spent with Kero, you know the real Josh. You know that you would never hurt an animal. I am truly disgusted with you right now, Beta. Kero has been silenced for 2 years, and now he wants to tell his side and give his opinion, and you don't even want to do that. It seems like you would prefer to keep the rumors and lies alive. If you don't want to be the same fandom, the same site as Kero, I suggest you leave. Kero is coming back, and you are just going to have to deal with it. Comments like yours are going to lead to people getting hurt or killed.
Ooh, ah. After the chaos you caused, you don't deserve to come back.
He didn't cause the chaos now, did he? He was the victim here.
I hope you're having a wonderful time deleting all the negative comments.
I am, thanks. Happy face. Oh gosh, I wish I had a girlfriend.
Okay, let's have a real discussion right now, because honestly, this is getting a little ridiculous. I don't care for hate comments. They don't bother me, but you cross the line when you try to hurt someone in real life. I was going to do a live stream and address unanswered questions, but now the live stream is canceled because someone decided to swat the person interviewing me. Not only is this a crazy thing to do, but an illegal thing to do to someone, and by the way, he's pressing charges, so I hope you all have fun with that. Majira, Beta, I know you may dislike me, but the more you promote this, the more people are going to get hurt. You don't understand the impact behind your words. Because you kept promoting this, someone got hurt. You guys are encouraging hate. People will do crazy things under what you say. Be fucking responsible. This isn't how you use your platform. You're literally telling people to go out and hurt other people. You're encouraging this kind of behavior. You're better than this. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to take a neutral stance, especially those who are considered to be a public figure. As someone who people look up to, you need to be the one to inspire people to do good. Having someone attack another person and especially physically hurting that other person is not good at all. I can't believe what the furry YouTubers have become. You all are encouraging violence. I'm not going anywhere. It doesn't matter how many of your fans you're going to send to me. I came back as a wake-up call to this community because, as you can obviously see, the fandom is kind of toxic right now. Alongside of mine, there's 4 other controversies that are happening. A month before that, there were 5. It's a never-ending cycle. You guys have the influence to step up and be a real influence, but instead, you rather use your platform for your own self-interest. This literally shows that you do not care for this community. Sure, there may be a smile behind your videos, but that's only so you can command them later to attack other people. Doxing, swatting, death threats is not a way that we should handle these kinds of situations. Stop promoting hate. Promote unity. This behavior is totally unacceptable, and as long as I'm around, I'm going to keep addressing it. Imagine making the bold claim that I literally advocate for violence just because your attempt to expose me blew up in your face.
At this point, I'm past the point of surprise. Isn't it awfully convenient for Kero the Wolf to use the fact that someone he knows was swatted as an excuse for him to not present evidence of his self-proclaimed innocence? Really fucking convenient there, Kero. Huh? Hate comments don't bother me. That's why he deletes a lot of comments and has his White Knight write essays of him simping over Kero. Both are probably guilty, to be honest with you. He's not even bold enough to delete the negative comments himself. He gets his mentally deranged attack dog, the Truth King, to delete them for him. Fucking blackdoor bastard. Does this dude really have to life beyond the fandom? Because I just would have left by now, laughing my ass off. Kero is claiming that YouTubers are influencing and enabling the fandom, falsely claiming that he was cleared in the court of law, he never went to trial, and basically that he greatly dislikes the fandom, making sure everybody knows what he has done. Good. Don't let him back in. Hey, Josh, honey, if this fandom is so bad, I don't know, maybe leave? Nobody wants you here, and the ones that are giving you ass pats and encouragement are minors who don't know the truth and those sporting Zeta symbols. You are a danger to this community, and you need to leave. Psst. Still waiting on that big video debunking all the evidence from your bullshit Beast Forum account, Dogman 2. Keeping this here before more misinformation spreads. I do declare Today is a great day for shutting the fuck up and listening a bit as folks impacted by the goings-ons are talking. Oh, okay, I missed something, and I'm only seeing reaction, anger about something that happened. Nothing about what actually happened, though.
That's it. I've had fucking enough of this clown. Send me any and all information archives on Kero the Wolf. Zoophiles have no place in the fandom. I don't give a fuck if I'm gatekeeping.
The one that went over absolutely everything without question would have to be Mr. Medicare's YouTube video right here.
Why are you still following? I did nothing wrong, teehee.
I do declare, I noticed someone was following me still. Here you go, boy. Looky here, boy. Let's just be honest here. Neither Majira nor Beta had much to do with what happened. You're deflecting the fact that people, independent of them, are put off by you and do things of their own accord. And in doing so, you're spinning this as some sort of rivalry of us against them, and what I can only assume is a way to polarize the issues. It's no longer about the accusations against you, the discussion surrounding it, or the issues that people are having regarding them. It's not about your initial reaction of insisting it was a hack, backing away from that, backing away from the backing away, then reappearing again, and without providing any answers, attempting to insinuate yourself as a large part of the community again. It's now Majira and Beta silencing me. I'm just about the last person who's going to say, "Why didn't you say anything for the past 2 years?" I get it. Your lawyer was telling you to keep your damn mouth shut until you were in the clear legally speaking. Good job on behalf of your lawyer. They gave you good advice. But now you're spinning this out to be something it isn't, to try to gain some semblance of credibility. And you're making a hash of it, sonny. They're not literally telling people to go out and hurt other people. They've done nothing of the sort. They've told people not to give you the attention you're seeking in these comments and videos. Do not support this person is not the same as kill this person, and isn't the same as swat this person. You know this on an intellectual level, but people are so put off by me at this point that they are reacting viscerally to my presence doesn't make for as juicy a narrative as the popular kids are amassing an army against me. You're going for the juicy narrative to make this single man standing up against the big bad cancel culture thing. That isn't what it is. This is people reacting to you, not people reacting to you because two big names told them to. Let's stick to the facts. 2 years ago, you were a part of a leaked messages that, directly or indirectly, have led to subsequent arrests and convictions, or at the very least, tangentially related to them. You reacted by insisting you were hacked. Then, you insisted the messages were faked. Then, you acknowledged that some of the messages were real, but only the non-problematic ones. They weren't screenshots. They were months and months of conversations. Your position is that someone with access to months of messages went through them and sporadically and somewhat expertly inserted fake messages into just your chats. That alone begins to weigh towards the unbelievable. You then take the position that although the messages were obviously false and easy to fabricate, they became the basis of a 2-year-long investigation that included police agencies from 2 different states and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You present this as being silenced. You state the investigation drew out so long based on the police going through devices they seized under a search warrant. You present the warrant as being the result of a single phone call. I'm going to go ahead and mark that with a big red doubt because in Pennsylvania, as in other places, the issuance of a search warrant must be based upon a showing of probable cause, and generally a single unsupported random phone call stating X has Y illegal thing isn't going to be enough to sustain that. There's something else needed to get over the warrant hurdle, and we both know it. So, and let me be clear, at this point your defenses are more or less those logs
which were with someone who has now been convicted and imprisoned for sexual offenses, which covered a reasonably extensive period of time, and subjects were edited specifically to make me look bad, and a random phone call, which the police then used in addition to something else, established enough probable cause that a search of my devices would locate illegal material that a warrant was issued by a magistrate, and indeed allow them to seize and forensically analyze my devices. There's smoke here, whether you want to admit it or not, boy. And, quite frankly, you're hiding the ball. If the statute of limitations barred it, there wouldn't have been an investigation. Well, no. You can start an investigation during the statute of limitations and have the crime go stale during it. You can start an investigation for things you know happen outside the statute of limitations for an offense because it indicates there might be the presence of offenses that are chargeable. Additionally, several of the things that form the subject matter of the logs against you, well, aren't crimes in Pennsylvania. For instance, having zoophilic pornography without dissemination is not in and of itself a violation of the Pennsylvania Criminal Code. Abuse of an animal in another state, like say, New York, is not a violation of the Pennsylvania Criminal Code. Baying roadkill, likewise, not a violation of the Pennsylvania Criminal Code. The fact that there were no criminal charges leveled in Pennsylvania does not in and of itself mean none of these things occurred. The fact that the New York investigation was closed doesn't even mean that, especially in light of the timing, and again, that pesky statute of limitations that can have prosecutors say, yeah, well, we're not going to prosecute him. We can't establish it beyond a reasonable doubt. It's now how charging decisions are made. Boy, I notice none of that has been raised in either your videos regarding this to date. Instead, it's been, they didn't charge me, therefore I am innocent. And while legally correct statement of the presumption of innocence applied in criminal prosecution, we all intellectually know that's not necessarily a true statement of actual fact. I'm finding it disingenuous to let the arguments rest at that. Indeed, you are legally in the clear now. End of the day, people are making their own judgments regarding you and your situation based in large part on the known evidence out there, and they're making their own decisions on how to act. While any right-minded person is going to say, don't harm them, let them just fade slowly into obscurity and don't forget about this, some folks are going to take it to the extremes. Most folks are going to say, yeah, don't do that, but laying the blame for that at the feet of people you feel betrayed by because they made their own judgments and decisions and decided not to support you? That's just drumming up a false narrative to try to make this into something more than it actually is. A general dislike for you based on what has occurred. And for God's sake, boy, you can't try to blackmail someone into removing a post expressing their distaste for you one day and then the next go with a straight face talk about cancel culture. That ain't how it works, son. The fact is, you may be at a point in your life when you need to decide whether you want to be at the center of attention as the poor, downtrodden person destroyed by cancel culture, or alternatively, if you want to quietly slip away and try to recover from this. In either case, in the words of you kids, this ain't it, Chief. Did I just witness a real-life, plus but a clever ruse assertion? No, I'm not going into the details. Yes, I am somewhat wheezing at the pure audacity of 'tis all going according to plan being a reaction. Like, motherfucker, at least, if taken at face value, you're telling people you will intentionally misrepresent a situation and manipulate folks for your own ends. At worst, you look like a goddamn dipshit trying to save face. This exit is about as graceful as John Wilkes Booth's last time on stage. I fell down a flight of steps and got pelted with canned goods from a shelf I ripped off the wall trying to catch myself yesterday, and I'm a goddamn ballerina in comparison. Did he twirl a long, thin mustache? I should have honestly added a little disclaimer at the beginning of this video that stated that, you know, this is not the Kero News Network, that I'm not just going to keep on making an endless amount of videos about the subject matter, because I've already spoken to great length on the subject matter in its entirety. And, you know, to go on and on about it might as well just be a broken record at this point. However, I only make this video because of the simple fact that Kero the Wolf actually had the audacity to come out today and post a video basically, you know, saying that he was going to leave the fandom again. At least, you know, depart from his YouTube channel. He's going to run back to Patreon to make more Patreon content for his dutiful, very loyal, and almost cult-like fans who will go the lengths of the earth to see that glimmer of sunshine enter their lives through the content that Kero the Wolf records. Because, you know, listening to a dogfucker, like, you know, talk about things or put on little skits and stuff is a totally great way to spend your time for entertainment value than, you know, maybe condemning him like the rest of your furries have. Although, you know, peer pressure is not always the best thing, so, like, maybe I should give these people more credit than, you know, I have. But at the same time, it's like, no, I'm a little bit, like, tilted right now by the amount of positive comments that have hit YouTube, like Kero the Wolf's YouTube videos. Honestly, the condemnation on Twitter is juxtaposed by this sort of illusion of, like, you know, positivity that people are directing at him. And it's like, I know that we're trying to move towards more positive portrayals of things, that we're trying to breathe more positivity in life because, like, people need more of it, granted, like, considering the circumstances happening in the worldwide world right now. But at the same time, there is rightful condemnation to be felt in terms of Kero the Wolf and his activities and the crimes that he got away with. And yes, I'm not mincing my words when I say that. He definitely got away with it. And, like, if you watch his YouTube videos, he lies, denies, gaslights, and does every fucking little manipulative trick in the book. There's something seriously not right. You know, I'm just gonna pull a Hank Hill and just say, that boy ain't right.
That boy ain't right.
Okay? Like, just the way that he goes about it, he stares at the camera with those glassy, soulless eyes of his, and, like, tries to paint this picture of, oh, I'm the victim, I almost committed suicide because all my friends left me and the furry fandom kicked me to the curb. Well, you know, Kero, I'm gonna say right now that, like, cancel culture is definitely a destructive phenomena happening in the furry fandom right now. However, you don't get to pull that card with us because of the simple fact that you fucked your dog to death. It was kidney failure, but again, I don't really know. I never got a death report or anything like that. Like, fucking Kero the Wolf, man. He's something else. And fucking roadkill on the side of the road. Oh, dude. Bruh. The fuck is wrong with you? I don't know what got into his sick little skull, but, like, that is just unnatural. These are crimes against humanity and furmanity, for all I care. Like, this is not good. Okay? Like, this is all not good. And the fact that people are still supporting him at this point, it's just mind-boggling. You know what? Maybe I just need to look through their eyes. I just need to look through the lens of their perspective to gain some sense of understanding and comprehension as to what their motives is, their modus operandi, and where it all goes from here. Because, like, I can't comprehend this on my own. It's just, like, so mind-boggling to me. But anyway, so Kero the Wolf, he's going to basically rest on his laurels and say that he was the victim, that he tried to, like, sit on the moral high horse and basically say, I laid a trap for you guys and you fell right for it. You gave me more attention than I could have ever hoped for. Too bad it was all negative attention, Kero. Like, that was not... What few comments actually hit your YouTube channel, like your videos, that was about a fraction of the entirety of, like, YouTube, like, you know, comments that would actually hit that particular video. Because your moderation team did such a crack job, like, deleting any hints or signs of dissent, that, like, the illusion is perpetuated that there's been overwhelming gushing support, and it substantiates your expectation of coming back and feeling that triumphant return. And I have to say, like, Kero the Wolf, if you can believe his own words, if he had to wait 2 years of quote-unquote forced silence, forced only because his legal defense team told him to keep his damn mouth shut, then that doesn't really speak to his innocence. That means that he just waited for the statute of limitations to expire so he could get away with it legally. And there is definitely a separation between legal guilt and moral guilt, alright? The two sometimes are conflated, sometimes they cross over, sometimes they overlap. In this case, for Kero the Wolf, he, like, you know, he is not only morally but also legally bankrupt, and he just got away on technicalities. His parents wouldn't cooperate with the police. The police allegedly took his devices. However, he must have gotten them back, like, in a very big hurry, because, like, he managed to go back onto Patreon and generate 2 years worth of content while during that whole time he was gone. And there were at least 32 patrons that were supporting him with $800 a month last I checked. That was circa last Kero the Wolf, like, you know, Kero the Wolf's Triumphant Return. The first one that I made. And, like, that was several months ago. So I don't know. Like, this does not speak well to you being completely innocent. And there was, like, a fundamental lack of transparency in any of your activities, in anything that you did, anything that you touched, anything that you got involved in. Because, you know, people would point things out, like basic things, like your About section on your YouTube. I mentioned, like, time and time, the moment of no return for me was when I saw, like, a video of his house tour. I actually have a copy on my hard drive here. 2, in fact. I made, like, backups just in case this hard drive fails. But, like, you know, if you just basically overlay the background of his garage, well, his modified living space to, like, pictures of where zoophilia is actively happening, like, it doesn't take no college job to figure out that, like, there's definitely some, like, similarities there. Similarities to the point that it can't really be unique, like, you know, coincidence, alright? Because, like, the way that the layout and sort of, like, the background matches entirely to the pictures, yeah, it's basically the same place, alright? While the angles might be a little bit different, the fixtures in the walls are so unique that is not a, that's not like a typical thing that Pennsylvania homes or New York homes follow, alright? Anyway, just, he, like, acts like he's some criminal mastermind, that he laid a trap, and that he managed to get Majira and Beta to lay enough attention towards him to draw in all of that attention. Too bad it was all negative attention, mostly. What few positive comments hit there were kids or people too ignorant that weren't really keeping up with what's been going on for the past few years to really understand that Kero the Wolf is an absolute dogfucker piece of shit that he is. And, you know, it's just very dismaying that so many people are easily fooled by a cute fursuit and a relatively easy on the eyes face, even though those, like, baby blue eyes of his that, like, look absolutely glassy and soulless. Ooh, I don't really need to look into those. They are windows into his soul, empty as the void. But no, it just really, like, hits close to home for me. And at the end of the day, like, you know, what happened here? Well, Kero the Wolf is going to be, like, pretending to be the champion to fight cancel culture. He tried to give this feelsy, like, good, warming feeling to the furry fandom through that video, basically saying that if you're the victim of cancel culture, stand tall and others will, you know, join in with you. Even though in my case it wasn't cancel culture because I was getting my comeuppance for past crimes and transgressions. And, like, honestly, what a way to go, you know? Like, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to get a Triumphant Return 4, 5, 6, 7. How long is this going to go? Like, is he going to wait another 2 years to come back? Is he going to, like, just stay on Patreon for a while and bide his time and just wait for things to fundamentally change so he can make his triumphant return? The comeuppance, the real one. Like, it's going to be the real return of Kero the Wolf. He's going to really come back, and he's going to really tell you all how it is. And in all 3 of those videos, he did not come up with a sufficient defense for any of his actions or behavior throughout that entire length of time. He did not really alleviate any concerns, comments, or, you know, genuine questions that people had of him. And, like, when he tried to claim that he was going to, that, like, the live stream was swatted, like, he made the claim that it was, like, swatted and that, like, our actions have real consequences on real people. Swatting is a dick move, but at the same time, we don't know for a fact if the swatting even took place. We don't know if Kero the Wolf, like, just made that shit up on the fly to try to make us all feel bad. Because, you know, like, anybody could say anything at this point. I would like to know a name at the very least, and there didn't seem to be any announcement where it's like, alright, everybody get ready, Kero the Wolf's going to appear on this interview, it's time to answer some questions that the community has of him. Like, let's go ahead and get this done. We need to get this off our plate. Like, there was none of that, alright? Like, for all I know, this was just some sort of cockamamie ploy to try to throw off, like, you know, any more heat that's been directed at Kero the Wolf than has already been. And I'm just like, dude, you could have just bowed out gracefully. You could have found a new fandom to, like, you know, ingratiate yourself to. You could have, like, moved on to another platform and tried to rebuild from there. But you seem to, like, be hell-bent on holding on to what little clout you have left. And I'm just going to pull Cole Phelps here and say that your vast, corrupt future is fading away as we speak. Because from this day forward, unless, like, something substantial happens, I'm going to try to, like, you know, sort of look the other way, like, as far as the Kero the Wolf things go. I already said a lot in my past several videos on the subject. I will say this, so, like, at the making of this video, like, it was maybe 2 hours ago, I think I was eating dinner, but, like, I discovered that Archive the Wolf, somebody that's been keeping up with the whole Kero the Wolf situation, all the developments, from the legal aspect to, like, you know, collaborating with other furries throughout the furry fandom. These furries have gone above and beyond to try to prove beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt that Kero the Wolf was absolutely guilty. And what's interesting is, like, they actually generated a lot of material. They managed to collect things from, like, Kero the Wolf's old accounts, things that he, like, tried to delete, but they archived. And they managed to formulate a sort of timeline with their whole channel, and their interests seem to have largely been in generally coming to the truth of the matter. There obviously came a tipping point in their whole personal investigation as to whether or not Kero the Wolf was guilty or innocent. And like me, they opted for guilty because, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. I didn't watch a lot of the video. I watched maybe, you know, first 20 minutes, but I wanted to get this out. But it was during the making of this video, I was just kind of surprised that, like, it was such a quick response. Granted, I think they've been, like, recording that in the time since, like, Kero the Wolf came back March 12th, 2021. But, like, honestly, I'm glad that, like, enough people out there care genuinely about, you know, cruelty to animals, the animal abuse, and the fact that there's a sick fuck amongst us, that they'll get off, like, and try to basically shine a spotlight on that. And again, the furry fandom doesn't need any more negative publicity than it already has, but, you know, I, like, throughout that entire time, ever since the Zoo-Sadist ring got blown wide open, I've been convinced that the furry fandom has a zoophilia and pedophilia problem. I mean, it was like every other day there'd be, like, people associated with the furry fandom that were, you know, outed as being pedophiles or zoophiles. It was just very concerning that these aberrant characters are running around. Truth is often stranger than fiction, and it's often much worse than any of us could possibly imagine. As in, like, people have suggested that pedophiles and zoophiles and sexual deviants are basically the staff members and administrators of your local conventions. They just do a very good job hiding that. You know, their personal lives do not carry over to their professional lives, or what you can consider to be their professional lives when they step into a furry convention environment. Now, do weird things happen in the background? Oh, you bet you. Like, I've heard plenty of stories. Now, these are all rumors, substantiated only by, you know, circumstantial evidence and, like, a handful of other things, but, you know, it could go far deeper than any of us would actually know. And it would take, like, investigations far beyond the scope of, like, you know, all of us, like, right now, to really go into. And also, I don't know, it would be an interesting topic to sort of look into. I know that Dragoneer was guilty of sexual assault and, like, threatened people to ban them off of like, Fur Affinity if they spoke up, but that's a rumor. I'm not, like, you know, substantiating that with any, like, you know, proof right here, right now, but I will just like to say that it's entirely possible and plausible. I have no reason to deny the charge, but at the same time, you know, that's not the subject matter of this video. I'm just saying that there's a lot of evil behavior and seditious behavior out there in the furry fandom. There's a lot of good stuff, there's a lot of bad stuff, and there's a lot of ugly stuff, just like with any fandom. Anyway, it just requires a modicum of vigilance on your part to look out for yourself and your friends, and to make sure that you keep yourself protected and safe in any situation that you happen to find yourself into. Please be on the lookout for zoophiles. They are not welcome here. I personally don't want to be in a fandom with zoophiles. I don't like the idea of dog fuckers, horse fuckers, or whatever, like, in between, but again, you know, it goes deeper than I could possibly imagine. But anyway, like, in terms of Betamax and Majira, I would have to say that they're very guarded and very professional in their dealings with Kero the Wolf. And the fact that Kero the Wolf would basically point at them and say that they're the problem, that they're the ones that have these, like, legions of fans that they can just sick on people at any point in time when they so feel like it. It's just asinine and crazy and, like, completely inaccurate to what Kero the Wolf is trying to portray this whole situation as. And, like, for Kero the Wolf himself, it's like, dude, buddy, look at yourself. Look what you try to do. Your first day back, Majira Strawberry makes one sentence, and you have the audacity to come out and just be like, yo, like, I'm sure your fans would be real happy to find out that you're a mersuiter. And I know that mersuiters, like, get a bad rep. They are, like, somewhat controversial as far as a topic goes on the furry fandom scene. But at the same time, like, what people do when they're, like, consenting adults, they're not hurting kids, they're not hurting animals. Like, far be it for me to judge them. And as long as it's not the same suit that he's, like, hugging kids with or doing G-rated content with, why do I care? Anyway, it was just very petty and, like, very weird. Like, Kero the Wolf just made an ass of himself, and he basically preached to the entire furry fandom about how he was the victim and how he was never found guilty and therefore he is innocent. Which, if you know law enforcement's job is not to prove innocence or guilt, as I mentioned before. It is to ascertain whether a crime has happened and whether or not to arrest or not arrest an individual for committing said crime. And somebody could be, like, perfectly guilty but not be arrested because there wasn't any substantial proof to corroborate the fact that they did the crime. In our case, we have plenty of proof to prove that Kero the Wolf is a lying sack of shit that's also a dog fucker to boot. But, you know, legally, he managed to wait out the statute of limitations on some of the charges, and, you know, for anything else, you know, like, the investigators supposedly, and, like, this is something that, you know, Archive the Wolf mentioned in their video that I can recall. They mentioned that one of the investigators had expressed frustration at the fact that Kero the Wolf had encrypted and wiped his devices prior to their being confiscated, which is probably why he got them back so quickly. And, you know, obviously any content that might have been on those devices would have been lost to the ether. It's also worrying to note that, like, Kero the Wolf, he had plenty of time to do that. Like, when the investigation began, his devices weren't, like, you know, confiscated. And to confiscate devices, you need a warrant to be able to, like, request those from a suspect. I'm not like a criminal law degree, so don't quote me on this stuff, but, like, generally speaking, I know the basics to know that, like, what Kero the Wolf's been trying to claim has been absolute bullshit. And I have somebody like Boozy Badger to sort of substantiate all that. Anyway, there's so much stuff here, so much stuff that Kero the Wolf said and claimed that sounds great on paper until you actually, like, critically think about what he's actually saying. If you were, like, ignorant and you had no idea who Kero the Wolf was, that you had watched that video for the first time, you would probably be convinced that he's completely innocent and that we're all full of hot air. Well, let me just tell you, nobody's inflated me big and round yet. Like, he's definitely, like, pulling some bullshit here. And, like, so much evidence is out there that he, like, managed to delete in time, and he's not going to acknowledge now. And he just cherry-picked the easiest, like, quote-unquote evidence to, like, refute. Now, one of the videos, like, you know, well, I'm not even getting into that. I already mentioned that, like, twice in my last two videos, so, like, let's just move on. Alright, so Kero the Wolf's going to go back to Patreon and start making content again. Great for him. That doesn't mean you have to be his friend. You don't have to support him. And you can continue to tell him to fuck off. He's not welcome in this fandom. And I believe wholeheartedly that each and every one of you should be an independent, free-thinking young adult or adult. You should be able to make your decisions, your own decisions for yourself. And that you should be able to basically weigh what's been presented to you as substantial or inconsequential. Like, is it something that, you know, you agree with or disagree with? That's up for you to decide. I'm just here to basically present all this information to you and my 2 cents on the matter all the while. I want to report on the news, like things that I find interesting, I'm going to make YouTube videos about. If I don't find it particularly interesting, then I'm probably not going to make YouTube videos about it. That's how it works. I'm not here to gatekeep, and, like, for Kero the Wolf to say that of furry YouTubers is just, like, farcical and very intellectually lazy on his part. If you knew that gatekeeping was happening, Like, you'd like be able to recognize it in a heartbeat. Like, people trying to use their clout to like muscle out people that are like perceivably smaller than they are, and that they can bully people like into submission in agreeing on a certain subject or not engaging in certain behaviors, or like, you know. And really, it comes down to basic morality for me. You don't mess with kids. You don't mess with animals. Like, and you try not to mess with people. Although some people, you know, set the bar of their, you know, emotional tolerance so low that you can inadvertently mess with them without even knowing. So anyway, that's another subject for another video. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap things up right here and say that Kero the Wolf is not the champion fighting like cancel culture that he likes to portray himself as. He's not a martyr. He's not a victim. He is somebody that's facing retribution for his past bad acts and is getting his comeuppance, as it were, for lying to the entire community and not facing responsibility for his actions. And like, some people are led to believe that he might be planning some great scheme, like based on like his last video, and I was like, oh, all going according to plan. But unless he can, like, you know, unilaterally, I don't know, make everybody forget about like the charges and allegations against him, I can't really see like where this is going to be going. Besides him going back to Patreon and trying to like shill for Patreon dollars, because that's pretty much what he's going to do. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys like watching my content, watching my videos, giving me a like and subscribe when you so feel it is deserved. But at the same time, I'm serious when I say the whole, like, there was like some support there. I noticed the likes to dislike ratios on a couple of glances, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that you'd have the time of day to listen to me like prattle on about these sort of subject matters and topics of interest. But I really do want you to have sort of your own opinion about this stuff. You can listen to me till the cows come home. You can listen to me like on your way to work, in the background, as you do artwork, what have you. But at the back of your mind, I really want you to be able to just reflect on whatever information people give you and come up to your own, draw your own conclusions from there. I want you to be free-thinking individualists that can, when needed, critically think about a subject and a topic of interest, because, like, you know, there are plenty of people out there that have reason to manipulate others and try to throw off, like, suspicion on certain things, or maybe they want to, I don't know, they want to basically shill for somebody for nefarious purposes. Like, and I'm using Kit the Soulless here as an example, because Kit the Soulless, it turns out like the reason he was vouching for Kero the Wolf in the first place was because he was a zoophile. He tried to like offer a happy pandy like message about how cancel culture is a destructive force in the fandom and that we need to be coming together in solidarity. And I don't think that we should make the furry fandom accepting of everybody. I don't think that zoophiles have a place here. Alright, I genuinely don't. But anyway, I leave it to you. You are free-thinking young adults and adults. You can draw your own conclusions for everything that I said and other YouTubers have said. I mean, go ahead and check out like Archive the Wolf. They've gone into this subject matter far deeper than I. I didn't watch the video in their entirety because, like, I pretty much, it was retreading the same ground I'd already been aware of, but it was reminding me of a few things. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please press that like button and subscribe for more. Till next time, guys, take care and peace. I hope you all have a better one.